So Shark Tank is kind of like an investment show. They, somebody comes in with a pitch and they come in with a new idea, with a new product they'd like to launch, or a business they're trying to start up, or even a business that they've had for a while. And they bring this pitch in front of a few investors called the Sharks, hence the name Shark Tank. And whether they walk out with a deal with multiple sharks or they walk out with none, is all up to the Shark Tank's discretion.
At that time, a lifelong friend of mine and I, Brad, who was on the show, we had this idea for a party version of wine. It was going to be called Winergy. So it was we didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but we had talked about it. It's like, this is the time when Four Loko was going crazy. We said, why has no one made wine more exciting? It's always so boring and everyone's tired when they drink it. So we want to do something called Winergy. We would have names like Call a Cab, Zinfandel, Sauvignon Blanc was my personal favorite. So when I was in school, we were talking about it. He came to visit me, and we started flushing out. We're like, what would Winergy be? What would it? And we're like, it's got to be in a box, because we would buy Franzia all the time for parties, whether it was college parties, house parties, kickball games, going on the river, to the boats or the lakes, the beach. Box wine's really convenient and affordable, but it doesn't taste good and it's not marketed to the 80 million millennials that are out there. So if we could recreate a way more fun, better tasting Franzia in Winergy, we could do well.
This event was great. This event taught me a lot about how a business can go from nothing into a big name overnight. Basically, Beatbox has a great story about how they started and where they are now, and how Mark Cuban really was the main key, the main piece for doing that, all of it for them.
But yeah, so we applied, we emailed anyone that ever knew anyone that worked with a producer. Look on LinkedIn, people have worked, if you have any friends in Southern California that work for Stone, anything, just email them. Say, hey, look, here's my idea, here's my plan. Can you send it along? So we did that. They actually came out to UT looking for UT companies. I waited for about an hour and a half. Did my 30-second pitch and said, we've already applied. I threw out a couple names. We know so-and-so. They love it. And luckily, 2 weeks later, they called us back and said, you made it to the next round.
I came here specifically just because I'm interested in entrepreneurship. Basically starting businesses is what I'm about and what I want to do. And hearing from someone who's been successful is definitely advice that I want to hear.
I came out today to come listen to him. I'm a big fan of Shark Tank. I'm always watching it. It comes on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. And I'm definitely watching new shows, so I was interested to kind of see what it was like in real life to go and be on scene with them, because I know it's a little nerve-wracking.
There was one part where he's like, in my mind, the strategy was wrong, right? Like the tasting strategy. And then I'm like patting my head. Now, that was a setup, because they gave us this clock before we go out there and said, if you ever feel like you're sweating, even if you're not really, just feel like it, take a step back, do this, right? And so I'm like, am I sweating? In the middle of the pitch, it wasn't even close to that part of the show. And I'm doing this. And then of course, in my mind, the strategy was wrong. Which, by the way, wasn't even it wasn't like that. He was like, in my mind, the strategy was wrong. I think you should have maybe done this. It wasn't like this dark music.